As I take my mind off the failure of ordering the wrong parts for an upcoming video, you guys will see that pretty soon. Just another kind of a PC work vlog video, if you will, doing some upgrades to patience. We're just going to go ahead and talk about some news that's happening around the PC industry in general. Let's get into it. We're going to start off with AMD, of course, because they seem to have the most things going on as of late. They have new CPU lineups rolling out this year, and they also have new GPU lineups, possibly rolling out this year. All of this, by the way, I should say, to take with a grain of salt. These are all mostly rumors. Nothing has really been written in stone for any of these companies, or at least nothing that we truly have as concrete. As far as I'm concerned, everything is rumors until reviews hit the web. Now with AMD, they have APUs rolling out. This is their 4000 series, and I will definitely let you know right ahead of time, this is not products that you can actually buy. This is more for system builders. What's interesting about it is that this seems to be more of a refresh of the previous lineup of APUs that they've already had out. So there's nothing really crazy going on here, and everyone hates when we're talking about refresh instead of actually new. So there's something to say for that. There's also something to say for the marketing that AMD is doing for these. Again, this is more for system builders, but they are touting that these APUs, these built-in graphics, is supposed to be for entry level up to enthusiast level of graphics for system builders. That's a very strong, very confident, I should say, wording for APUs in general, especially from the company that's been actually number 2 in graphics for, I don't want to say decades, for several years. Okay, it's a long time. AMD has been riding behind good old green Nvidia. Not to really talk down about AMD in terms of graphics though, because we all know that it all comes down to price performance, and no matter whether you're talking about video cards or CPUs, AMD has played their role very well when it comes to price to performance. That includes their graphics cards. I just really wish they would compete more heavily on the enthusiast level when it comes to graphics cards. They do fine in mid-range and low-end, as they always have for years, but it is the high-end, it is that enthusiast level that they're talking about for their APUs for whatever reason, that they really do need to compete in, and that they just haven't been. And moving on with more AMD is the actual new lineup of consumer CPUs that we are pretty excited about. This is their new Zen3 architecture. Now this new lineup is interesting because apparently there's been some leaked benchmarks or scores where these new CPUs are pushing a boost clock of 5 gigahertz. Now, according to the article, it was a boost clock of 5 gigahertz, not some like actual manual overclock where it was steady at 5 gigahertz. Actually, I do believe there has been some AMD CPUs already that people have managed to get up to 5 gigahertz OC'd already. I don't know how long those figures were stable, but I'm pretty sure that we've been able to hit 5 gigahertz on AMD's Ryzen CPUs for a while now. However, this is not an OC. This is a boost clock, which means that right out of the box, you could potentially have a CPU that can boost up to 5 gigahertz. That's pretty awesome, and I would immediately say, please don't do that if it's going to be the same situation as our last current lineup of Ryzen, where we had CPUs that were rolling out of the gate that was not hitting the promised boost clock, and AMD had to scramble to release a BIOS patch to actually fix that. If that is what we have to go through for the 5 gigahertz boost clock, let's just knock it down. Let's knock it down to like 4.8. You know, if it's capable of 5, let's just take that as icing on the cake, right? And just knock that down to about 4.8 gigahertz and we'll be good. Good to go. I really don't care that much for having incredibly high frequency if my applications are not going to really make good use of it anyways. Now continuing on talking about AMD's GPU space, so you already heard me say that I wish they would compete more in the high end, in the enthusiast level area of graphics, and that's where Big Navi supposedly will come in. I don't know, if for me, if they would at least make it so that This is not yet another brand new graphics card line that is only going to compete with Nvidia's previous generation of cards and like their current generation of mid cards. If they can like not do that again, that would be great. Try to fight them on the entire lineup. Actually make your high-end cards compete with the current high-end cards. Let's just try that. They haven't really done that yet. Let's just try that. Okay, so Nvidia has never had to worry about them for quite some time. Let's put a little bit more pressure on Nvidia and just build that competition up a little bit more. That's what I'm expecting from Big Navi this year. Speaking of Nvidia, obviously, as soon as people got excited about Big Navi, Nvidia said, oh, just wait. We have a new lineup ourselves. Nvidia Ampere, which is going to be their 3000 series cards, the RTX 3000 series cards, is supposedly about to come out probably in either September or October. So that's literally either next month or the month after. That's pretty close. So we're really expecting this to hit the shelves pretty soon. A lot of people are excited, obviously, for the new RTX 3080 and 3080 Ti. I'm not. I'm just going to be real with you. This is going to be one of those things where even though I like Nvidia for other reasons, I've never really aligned with them when it came to their prices. So I guess what I'm going to be looking for and what some of you guys are probably going to be looking for is the fact that their previous generation cards might drop a little bit in price. Nvidia's not been good for that either. So it's not that many times where Nvidia will actually drop prices on their GPUs, at least by any noticeable difference that will help you out. Another thing to say about the new cards is they are obviously going to be faster than the 2080 and the 2080 Ti. I mean, we're definitely expecting some noticeable gains when it comes to this new lineup. However, there has been anything concrete in terms of how much that's actually going to boost, like how much better are these cards going to be. There was definitely a letdown when RTX 2000 series came out in terms of the high-end cards. So I don't really know if that's going to change, because when Nvidia released the RTX series of cards, they were really pushing this RTX. They were really pushing the RTX on thing to say that, you know, this is going to change the way that games are going to look. And for the most part, as far as the technology is concerned, they weren't really lying or just blowing smoke. RTX on, when actually built into the games properly, really does change the look of the games. They really look great and all that. However, the FPS hit when RTX is turned on is still quite harsh for many people to really accept. And honestly, the looks, like the boost that it gives for the graphics, is not really enough to warrant sometimes struggling to get 60 FPS in certain games depending on your resolution if you turn on RTX. So they can't really go pushing RTX anymore for this new lineup of cards. They're gonna have to really bring something noticeable that is not going to tax the gamer to achieve. Let's see what that is. Now, when talking about, you know, new graphics cards, new CPUs, things come from AMD and Nvidia. I know I haven't talked much about Intel because Intel doesn't have that much going on in terms of new, except for struggles. They got all kinds of new struggles, but Intel is still there, obviously. The question I really want to ask you about all of this is, how will your next upgrade or new build look with all these new components coming out? And if you're rocking Intel, I'm just gonna say right off the back, I was with Intel for quite a while, and if I am with Intel's, if I'm using Intel or any of Intel's new CPUs within the last 2 years or so, I wouldn't probably upgrade from it right now. At least I don't know. It really depends on the needs of your PC, right? I guess that's what it all comes down to. Because if you need your PC to be a real workhorse and maybe more on the graphics and video side of things, that's probably where your work relies on as far as your computer is concerned, then yeah, you probably want to upgrade. You probably want to jump over to AMD and get some more horsepower. That's probably what you want to do. Or maybe not. It's good. It's really something that you have to think about. AMD is really controlling the space in terms of cores and power. However, in terms of games, their CPUs are still not the top ones when it comes to games. However, I'm rocking a 3700X, and I'm loving it for games. I've never really seen a real battle when it comes to CPUs in games. I just haven't seen it. Having a higher frequency doesn't mean more to me than having a higher core count, but that's because my PC is made for both gaming and work. So if and there's also something to be said for software as well. With me, I'm with Nvidia because on the software side, their NVInc does a lot more for me than AMD's cards will do right now. Especially if you're talking about encoding Premiere, which now has the hardware encoder, and it works really well on Nvidia, more so than it does on AMD, where it doesn't really do as well, but it does improve. It does give a noticeable performance boost when trying to encode videos. It doesn't do as well as Nvidia. And then also when it comes to streaming and when it comes to other encoding applications like Handbrake, there is actual NVInc support in those applications that really makes noticeable differences when using those apps. Like for my streams, I wouldn't have any sort of stable streams the way I'm streaming right now if it was not for NVInc. The GPUs, as far as Nvidia is concerned, give more value beyond their raw GPU performance in terms of software support, whereas I don't really see that on the AMD side. However, in terms of CPUs, AMD has a lot more going for it, and when trying to be a real workhorse than Intel has. At the end of it all, competition is all I care about. My wallet is what I vote with, and whoever gives me the most performance for the money is who I'm riding with. That's why I have AMD in my system right now. That's why I have a Nvidia GPU card right now. That's the way that my build and upgrades are going. Sound off in a comment down below how you determine what your next build is going to be or what your next upgrade is going to be, and what you think about all the new parts and cards coming out over the next few months. It's going to be a pretty exciting time in the PC space. Going to be a lot of things filling up your inbox on YouTube from all your favorite tech reviewers. They're going to have a lot of work ahead of them going into the end of the year. I'm pretty excited to see what's going to happen. Again, I'll see you guys in another tech video. Thanks for sitting through this. I hope it wasn't too much for you or too boring for you. I'll see you in another tech video. Have a good one. Bye.